Hey everyone, it's Allie, and today we're going to be talking about prophecies. Now, prophecies are a core feature of Circle of Fortune that, well, as you can see, can get a little bit crazy. Prophecies are a way for you to be able to spend all the favor that you've earned, which you just get for simply getting experience and killing monsters while you're part of the Circle of Fortune, and you can then spend it on specific prophecies that allow you to get a reward for doing a certain job. Some examples of this might be something super simple, such as killing a random rare monster inside of a dungeon, to things such as potentially killing the Shade of Orbis in a high corruption monolith. These prophecies are meant to give you a wide variety of content to do, and ideally, they are trying to get you to interact with a lot of the game by either doing a lot of different monoliths or doing a lot of different dungeons and interacting with them in different ways. The whole point of these is that once you do fulfill the requirement, so for example here, we would have to kill the Shade of Orbis, we would then be given a reward. So in this case, we'd be gaining 6 unique rings. Now, the thing to mention about this, as you can see at the top, that we have fulfilled it 1 out of 2 times, meaning that when you get a prophecy, you don't just get a single use of it. Sometimes you can have multiple uses of it, giving you substantially more power. Now, to be able to interact with prophecies, it's going to be very simple. If you come over to the observatory in Majelka and just come up the stairs, at the top, you'll be able to see yourself 4 separate telescopes. Now, these telescopes are going to give you different prophecies based on what they're attuned to. For example, the bottom one to give you accessories, the left one to give you idols, the top one is armor, and then the one on the right is weapons and shields. Now, you just simply have to click on one of these and then you can access the interface to be able to interact with prophecies. Now, you don't actually need to walk to every single one of them. You can simply just use the cardinal coordinates that are on the side of the interface. And this will allow you to very quickly swap between all 4 of the different constellation types very easily without you having to just go to the back of the room every time. Now, in this interface is where we're going to be able to spend our favor and then be able to get prophecies in return. All these prophecies, as I mentioned, will specifically give you rewards based on what they're supposed to do. So for example, here we have Masembria, and this is going to give us a bunch of accessory prophecies. As you can see here, we have some prophecies for unique amulets, unique rings, and some exalted amulets and some exalted rings. What I'd really recommend to do is in the bottom right to turn on both of these options. They'll be off by default, as this will just allow you to immediately at a quick glance see what is actually available for you in each screen. The confirmation window is also really important to turn on because, for example, if I were to reroll, I would get a confirmation every time, which is a little bit annoying given you're going to be rerolling quite a lot. So with all this put together, all we would really have to do is just simply go through this interface. And well, if we like something that we see here, we can see the favor cost for it. For example, this one cost me 39,000 favor to get a prophecy that I can use twice, which will give me a reward of 2 pieces of unique jewelry that have 1 guaranteed legendary potential on them, assuming I kill 7 rare monsters within a monolith that has 14 corruption or higher. Now, if nothing interests me here, I can just simply click the reroll button, and this will let me see the next constellation. This is just a way for me to keep rerolling until I get something I like. For example, if I were to like this one, which requires me to kill 1 rare enemy in Temporal Sanctum twice over, I just take it, and this will also automatically reroll this interface for me, effectively saving me 320 favor. Now, if we ever want to look at all of the prophecies that we currently have, we simply just have to hit Y, and then we can go over to our faction interface and then go over to the prophecy tab, and here we can see everything that we actually have. Now, there's a way for you to augment this and make this even better. In the bottom left, you'll see that you have lenses, and these lenses can allow you to change what you actually see in each screen. To be able to get lenses, all you have to do is just simply come down the stairs and come over here and talk to the vendor that is by the waypoint. The vendor is going to give you access to a bunch of different lenses. As you can see here, there are going to be quite a lot of them that allow you to specifically target farm things. Now, this might seem a little bit confusing, but it's actually very easy to navigate. As you can see, all of these are color-coded. So for example, all of the Arctus ones are with a blue background, and these are going to be the armor ones. All of the ones we were just looking at, the Masembria ones, are going to be yellow. All the weapon ones are going to be red. And then all of the miscellaneous and support ones are going to be a teal color. This makes it very easy to know what you're looking at, and these can only be specifically used in whatever their type is. For example, I can take the glove lens and then use it with Masembria, which is going to give me a bunch of accessories. The other ones to mention here are going to be greater lenses. Now, these are going to either allow you to just remove certain things. So for example, if I don't ever want to do an arena event, I could use a no arena event lens to stop that. Or if I don't want to do any high corruption prophecies, I could remove them that way too. Other than that, we also have 3 lenses that are going to allow you to specify the type that you want. So for example, we can have a 15% higher chance to find exalted items, to find set items, or to find unique items. And this is just applied to everything that you see within a given telescope. Lastly, we have 2 very powerful lenses that are unlocked at level 7 and level 8 with the Circle of Fortune. The first one, the Lens of Rhyme, is going to make it so anything you buy is going to be 80% more expensive, but all the prophecies will offer twice as many uses. That means, for example, this prophecy right here, the Crossroads that I purchased, I specifically had one of these double use lenses in it. So if I didn't, this would have only allowed me to fulfill it once and not twice, effectively giving me double the amount of total loot, but at the same time, it only costing 80% more. You also have to remember that this is going to save you from re-rolling to be able to find exactly what you want. So realistically, the cost savings on this cost is substantially greater than it actually shows here. The other one is going to be the Lens of Wealth, which is going to make everything cost 90% more, but it's going to double all the rewards from completion. Meaning that if we actually look at this prophecy that I picked up, that gives me 2 uses of 6 rings. This by default would have actually just been 1 single use for 3 rings. This effectively means that I quadrupled the total loot that this prophecy was actually going to give me, which is going to be substantially better than not using these lenses, considering that with using both of these lenses, in total, it's going to cost 170% more. So I'm paying the price of 3.7 total prophecies, but I'm getting 4 prophecies worth of total value out of it. The other thing to mention here that's massively going to save you on reroll costs, meaning you're actually saving more than just 30% on the cost of 4 of these prophecies together. I would highly recommend to include these 2 lenses in every single one of the prophecies that you're actually going to purchase, as it's going to be very relevant for you to get the most efficiency out of all the favor that you get while doing this. Now, there's a trick that pretty much every single person who is playing Circle of Fortune can abuse, and with most people getting very close to rank 10 in Circle of Fortune, this is something I want to make everyone as blissfully aware of this as I can. What I want you to keep in mind is that the level 10 reward for being with Circle of Fortune is that all items from a prophecy is duplicated. This means that, for example, if I were to get a 1 LP Ravenous Void, I would now get 2. It just straight up doubles whatever you're actually supposed to get, meaning if you were trying to hunt down a 3 LP base for a specific item that you're trying to craft, you would now get 2 of them at the same time, making it really, really easy to get exactly what you want on that said item. The thing about this is, well, rank 10 does take a while to get. Now, the best way for you to actually gain levels is to specifically use up your favor. Every favor you use is going to give you 2 reputation. And realistically, this is going to be how you get to level 10. Now, what you can instead do is take a little bit longer to get to reward level 10, but massively benefit from any other favor that you've actually used to get to that point. What I recommend for everyone to do that isn't level 10 already is to specifically not spend any other favor. Try to do everything you can to stock up as much as you can. You do have a limit of 1 million, so you can't go overboard with this. But the point is, you want to get to level 9, and you can use your favor to get to level 9 if you want to. And then what you want to do is you want to start paying attention to the reputation required for you to actually get to level 10. It'll say right below the level 10 reward how much reputation you need. Grind away at that slowly by killing monsters, and then pay attention to when you have half of the reputation required to hit level 10 as favor. That means, for example, if I needed 500,000 more reputation to hit level 10, if I had at least 250,000 favor, I would be ready to do this trick that I'm going to tell you about. So as I mentioned, spending favor gives you reputation. So if I were to have exactly enough favor to get me over the bump to level 10, what I would then do is come over to the observatory and finally spend all that favor. I would go through and get whatever I need. So in my case, I'm currently attempting to farm rings to get a red ring of Elantris. And what I did is I specifically got very close to level 9 without actually going to level 9 and having about 250,000 favor left over. And then I just came over here to Masembria and started rolling for as many unique ring prophecies as I could. This allowed me to dump my favor very, very quickly, and it made me go from halfway to level 10 within maybe 2 minutes. With this, I was then level 10, and I had a bunch of prophecies loaded up, ready to go. And because I now hit level 10, all those prophecies just got duplicated, meaning I now effectively get double of whatever I just purchased. This effectively doubles the favor that you would have gotten, with you requiring to do a little bit more mob grinding to be able to get the remaining reputation that you're missing between 9 and enough favor to boost yourself to 10. But overall, it's going to give you a massive boost in total loot. Now, finally, why don't we very quickly go over what each of these telescopes is actually going to be good for to farm. The first one is going to be Dysis, and it's the one I don't think many people actually know about or understand just how good it can actually be. Dysis is going to offer you a lot of crafting materials and a lot of idols. So in the case of you needing dungeon keys, well, I can buy myself 4 arena keys very easily here for just 900 favor. Another case might be buying myself 8 Soulfire Bastion keys for only 10,000 favor. The point is you can get yourself a lot of keys if you need specific keys to farm a specific dungeon. The other thing to mention here is, for example, the glyphs. The amount of crafting materials you can get here is actually crazy. For example, I can just prophecy 4 times over, which gives me 20 glyphs of order each time, meaning I get in total 80 glyphs of order just for doing this one prophecy. Do you need runes of shattering? Well, here's 36 runes of shattering for killing 2 Orbises. Do you need runes of removal? Well, here is 130 something runes of removal for just killing a bunch of Lagons. At the same time, the idle ones can also be very, very strong as well. Are you trying to farm a specific idol for your build? Well, here's a prophecy for only 4,500 favor that just immediately gives you 40 total ornate idols. Dysis is unbelievably underrated. And the other thing I want to mention is you can just get things like this, which is just a free 80 glyphs of despair, which typically you would not be able to get this quickly, and you'd have to typically spend millions of gold for in Last Epoch. And I think people just don't understand, if you ever need crafting materials or dungeon keys or any sort of idols for a build, you should just come run some Dysis prophecies. Moving on, next we have Arctus. Now, Arctus is going to be very good for farming any sort of unique item that you need for a build. The main thing I want to mention here are going to be these prophecies specifically, the 16 Weaver's Wool ones. Currently, Weaver's Wool items are very popular in all the builds, and the place where this mostly matters is going to be for Cradle the Erased. Now, some people have I've been farming Cradle the Erased by doing EOS prophecies for shields. But unfortunately, because I can give you any random shield, your total pool is about 15 random shields, giving you a very bad chance for you to actually get a Cradle the Erased from it. Well, with this specific one for Weaver's Wool items, it's going to give you a unique armor, which means it can only hit the shield, the gloves, the belt, or the boots that are Weaver's Wool, and this is going to guarantee that you can get yourself a pair with 16 Weaver's Wool on it specifically. Because this prophecy can be completed 16 times, and I get 2 rewards every time due to my lenses, that means I'm going to get 32 Weaver's Wool items in total from this, and because it's just a raw 1 in 4 chance, that means I'm on average going to get 8 cradles for only 10,000 favor. This is substantially more efficient than anything else, and I'd highly recommend if you need any Weaver's item to do this specifically. This also is going to apply for other unique items too. Do you need a specific unique pair of boots? Well, here's 20 boots for 13,000 favor. Not only that, but it's going to be very, 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 very good for farming any sort of exalted items you need. Do you need a specific exalted mod on your gloves? Well, come and do its prophecy and there's 8 exalted gloves for you. Some of these numbers can get very, very silly, especially if you were to look at one like this, where you just get yourself 24 exalted body armors instantly. These are amazing for you to get specifically what you want. And the other thing to mention about these is if you combine it with the level 10 reward, the specific bases are going to be doubled, meaning if you get yourself, for example, a exalted word gain when you create a shadow body armor, you're going to get 2 of them, meaning you have 2 chances of crafting exactly what you want out of it. Next, we have EOS. And well, I don't really like EOS personally. It's good because there's no other way for you to really get exalted items. And this, for example, would just be 12 exalted bows, just like that. But because this has every single weapon in it, including shields, it's actually pretty difficult to find exactly the prophecy that you want in here. The other problem being that you really want a Lens of Rhyme and a Lens of Wealth in here to quadruple what you get. You can only fit in 1 extra lens. So if you want to, for example, make sure you get shields, you only can get yourself a 20% increased chance for shields, which, well, given the amount of things that you have in here, isn't going to really make you seal that many additional shields on average. This is good, especially if you need some very specific items, but do keep in mind that some of these can get very expensive very quickly, and I don't really recommend this unless you specifically need exalted bases. And finally, we have Masembria. Now, Masembria, in my opinion, is my favorite one, simply due to the fact that they can only roll for amulets, rings, or relics. This means if you were to need one of these 3 things, you don't really need to reroll much until you can specifically see the node that you're looking for. Not only that, but the amount of nodes that spawn per reroll are the same as all the other ones, meaning on average, it's going to take you substantially less rerolls to see exactly what you want. The other thing to mention here is that they drop in very large quantities as well. So for example, need some relics? Well, here's 12 relics, which is quite a lot of relics. And there's even one of these that gives you 24 total relics, making these highly efficient at farming any sort of unique ring, any sort of unique amulet, or any sort of unique relic that you need. And that's all we have to talk about for these prophecies. I hope this video helped you learn about these a little bit more and how to abuse them and how to get the most out of them. And if you have any further questions, feel free to leave a comment in the description below, and I'll be more than happy to help you as soon as I can. I also stream on Twitch every single day, so you're more than welcome to come by Twitch and ask me your question there personally, and I'll be more than happy to help you whenever I can. If you just want to come and hang out with all the cuties and be a part of a community, I'd be more than happy to see you there as well. And outside of that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you cuties in the next video.